Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Anchorage Ice Tigers Draft to Glory franchise mode here in NHL 23. So, before we actually get into today's episode, I just want to say my voice is completely shot almost, as you guys could probably tell. And I did actually mention that on the community tab because I was at the Sens home opener last night, and holy crap, that was quite the game. So loud, and I met a lot of new people, so that was really awesome. And yeah, it was great to hang out with my friend Kevin. So anyways, before we get into this draft and offseason we have ahead of us, let's get into a few comments regarding the draft and all that type of thing. So the first thing we got is from Sir Sink. He says, I think the first overall pick is a no-brainer, but with the second pick, you should draft Cardwell to give a nice boost to your defensive core. This seems like a great draft. That will be a huge win for that in setting up the Ice Tigers for the future, which I agree with. I think this is just going to be a really good draft for us. There's a ton of good prospects in it in the later rounds and all that stuff, so we should be able to build up some pretty good depth into our lineup. The next comment is from Ben for the win. He says, Bickle is your guy to pick up in the draft. I think Sloan should be moved down and have Vallette on the first or second line because he's younger and has better potential, which I think that does make sense for sure. Vallette had a little bit of a rough season a little bit of a rough season, I'd say. He only had like 5 points, I think it was, or it was really low scoring. How much points did he have again? So Sloan had 20 points. Sloan's more of a bottom 6 type of guy. Vallette only had 3 points in 82 games, which is not that great. Obviously, he's got the better potential, so we will try and throw him higher up in the lineup for next season. Next comment is from Saturn Otaku, who says you did have a number 1 pick in your Houston series, but the save file actually got corrupted. Zikov is shaping up to be this series' Rimo. Maybe he'll eventually be a Selke winner. So yeah, Zikov had a pretty good rookie season, second on the team in points. They're actually tied for first on the team in points. And as you can see over here, he had above 50% on the faceoffs, which is great, and some good defensive statistics as well. And I didn't realize that we actually had a number 1 pick in our Houston series. I forgot that we lost to save file at 1 point, so that's kind of interesting. Next comment is from Hockey Guy 88. He says, I think Bickle should be your pick. While Krupp looks like a great player, I think Bickle will be still a better goal scorer since he's a sniper rather than power forward. Plus, they're both similar in size anyways, which is true. So yeah, more than likely we're going to be going with Bickle for our first pick because a lot of you guys all say Bickle for sure. The next comment is from Flame Husky. He says, here's my draft day plan. At number 1, draft totally 100% Norwegian Frederick Bickle. He's obviously being kind of sarcastic. It's the obvious pick. For the second and third round, I would take Strachan and Neal in their potentials alone. At worst, they become 82 to 84 overall players, which is a win in my books. In the later rounds, I would take the secondly totally Norwegian and Festorini. He looks like a solid ad for the team, which I agree with. There's a lot of good players in the later rounds. I did write down exactly who I want to draft potentially. Yeah, see, Bickle's definitely the unanimous number 1. You can see based on the shooting and all that type of stuff. This guy's going to be a stud of a player. And then like in later rounds, we will probably get, who was it? Strachan would probably be a really good pick for sure, just because he's a medium elite DFD. So that would be good. And then Harry Neal as a medium elite goalie would definitely be pretty good as well, especially if they just developed into being like starting goalies and at least like a top 4 defenseman. You know, it wouldn't be that bad for a later round pick. Next comment is from Cadillac. He says, gotta love the gray hair 18-year-olds, which is true. We have quite a bit of gray hair 18-year-olds. And then the last comment is from Jay Bryland Sabres fan. He says, shut out 19 times in year 2. So in year 1, we were shut out 30 times. This time around, we were shut out 19 times. So we are improving, at least in terms of scoring a goal every single game, which is good. So those were the comments that I got in the last episode. So now we got to get ourselves into the draft, which means let me open my notebook because I wrote down who I wanted to draft. I basically kind of did like a tally thing to see how much you guys said for who. So we're definitely drafting Bickle. Cardwell only got like 1 mention, so we probably won't draft Cardwell, but Neal got 2 comments towards him, so we will likely draft Neal with like our 3rd round pick. And we'll probably go with either Strachan or Cardwell in the 2nd pick just because they're both defensemen. And then Fizzarini is definitely a pick that we're going to get in the 4th round. And then I don't know about the 5th, 6th, and 7th. So as long as we have the AI not steal those guys ahead of our time. So Anyways, let's get into this draft resign stage in the entire offseason and see what we could get. And hopefully, this team is looking pretty good going into next season and gets a lot of growth throughout the year. So, this is a historic first overall pick. Excited to grab Bickle because obviously this is almost exactly what we need in a sense, because we already have a center two-way forward in Zikov. We have a right-wing playmaker in Jorgensen, and now we're going to get a left-wing sniper in Bickle. And yeah, look at those shooting categories. Shooting and puck skills are all A+, and then he's got A in senses and skating and defense even. So he's a really good defensive sniper apparently. And he's also got some good physicality, which is pretty interesting for a sniper. So welcome to the Anchorage Ice Tigers, Frederick Bickle. And he's an 83 overall out of the gate, which is huge for our team. This guy, we need to have him signed long-term after his ELC ends for sure. Like, he's going to be a really good player. Oh yeah, those defensive attributes are actually not too bad. Like, his stick checking is pretty good. Look at those physical attributes as well. Not much of a fighter, but good strength for most part. Good durability, body checking, aggressiveness too. Yeah, I'm very excited to see what this guy could do on our top line next season. And look at those X factors. 1T is his zone ability. He's got shock and awe, make it snappy, close quarters, all alone, and snipe. Like, literally every shooting category. Yeah, this is going to be really good. Very excited to see what that guy could do. And obviously we will take a look at what he looks like in the next episode and all the other picks that we have. So let's zoom to 34. Actually, let's take a look at the next top 5 players as well. Krupp is an 82 power forward, so a little bit worse, but still a pretty good player for the San Jose Sharks. Buffalo gets Kravchenko, the DFD. And Seattle's going to get Lowry. Yeah, Lowry is an 81 sniper, so the next best sniper with no zone ability. He's probably going to be pretty good at shooting the puck as well. And Nashville, number 5, is going to take Budai, who's an 80 DFD. So 2 defensemen and 3 forwards in the top 5 in this year's draft. Let's zoom up to our pick at 34 and see if Cardwell or Strachan is still there. And let's see if they didn't go in the late round. Let's just see first ahead of time. See if anybody took anybody decent at the late part of the round. Backer went. Backer was one of the guys I was looking at. 76 top 6 for this guy and 2 zone abilities. I was looking at that guy. He's only like a couple years out. Cardwell did go, so we can't get Cardwell, unfortunately. He goes to the Toronto Maple Leafs. He has his zone ability, which is kind of impressive for a top 4. Obviously, we weren't going to take him with a first overall pick, but that's a pretty good pick there for Toronto. And that's exactly kind of what they need in real life, is a good, solid defensive defenseman. And yeah, looks like yeah, we do have the chance to take the Strachan guy. There is also Eric Cook, but he's not going to be that great out of the gate. Morozov. Yeah, I think we just got to take Strachan here, even if it's a little bit early. Like a lot of these other players we don't know that much about. There is a gem here in Kuznetsov, but 3 years out. I don't really know if he's going to be a low elite. Yeah, I think we're just going to probably go Strachan here just to get ourselves a medium elite defensive defenseman. Like, he's not supposed to go super late after this, in a sense, because he's supposed to go technically, I think, late second round. So we are going to take him, but just get ourselves a medium elite defenseman, because why not? They don't grow really on trees, and if this guy gets a lot of development fast, he could end up being a pretty good shutdown guy for us. So welcome aboard, Keegan Strachan. 53 DFD, so it's going to take him a bit to develop, but yeah. He's going to be hopefully pretty decent at the defensive end, because that will help us keep the puck out of the net. No zone ability either, but that's okay. So that's our second round pick. Now we'll sim up to our third round pick, which we should be able to grab that goaltender that's medium elite as well, because he should be still available. Let me see. Yep, there he is. He's not supposed to go till 83 technically, but once again, we are going to grab him ahead of time, because we're trying to build up our prospect pool to be as good as possible. So Harry Neal, welcome aboard as well, and hopefully you're going to be a good starting goalie in the future. 48 overall, but yeah, if we leave him in the minors maybe for a year, because we can sign that other guy, that would be okay. Or we leave him unsigned for a year. I don't know, we could do that potentially if we want to. And then let's sim up to our next pick, which hopefully should be a big steal in Festerini if he's still available, which he is. Oh, let's see how good Festerini is. I'm excited because this guy's got good shooting, good puck skills, good senses. And yeah, he's a pretty good offensive player for a late round pick. He's 19 years of age, which is the only like downside, but he should be a pretty good player. So welcome aboard Bryson Festerini. And he's a 67, low lead out of the draft. That's pretty high up. Very excited to see this guy in action. And he should help out our defensive play a little bit as well. Like, he could be a perfect like third liner, maybe a perfect second liner at best. But very excited to see what he's going to develop into. So that's 4 really good picks for our team in terms of prospects. Let's see what we could get in the 5th round, because now we have to go off the board because I do not have who I'm going to draft in this next part. So I honestly don't know what I'm going to go after. We should maybe draft some defensemen, because I don't think we only drafted 1 defenseman so far. So maybe we want to get more DFDs or something. Lacus, 5 years out, potentially, and 20 years old. That doesn't sound intriguing to me. Harvey's a power forward, bottom 6, but I don't know if we really need much more of that. Oh, a low top 6. That actually would be probably the best option. Jeff Cox, 5 years out, so he's probably going to be a low overall, but he's got better potential than a lot of these guys. So, yeah, let's take him and add him to the team. So we're adding a lot of Norwegians, I just realized. This is like a really Norwegian-heavy draft, because we already drafted 2 Norwegians, and we had the first overall who was a Norwegian. And, yeah, there's quite a bit of them in this area of the draft, which is kind of funny. So, a lot of Norway players. Let's say Cox, though. 54, low top 6 sniper, so he's not actually a power forward, so that's good. That could be like a good, like, maybe bottom 6 scoring option, which is always good to have. Let's go to the 6th round, see if we could keep on adding these steals. Guaranteed bottom 6 power forward in Stromberg. No weakness and no strength, so he's pretty average. Let's sort by potential, see if we can find a steal here. The scouts are recommending us a Voinov. Do I take him just because the scouts are recommending us him? You know what? I'm going to trust my scouts. Kirill Voinov, let's see how good you are. Medium bottom 6, 50 overall. So that's probably our worst pick of the draft, but who knows? Maybe he becomes a good bottom 6 player for us at some stage, or an AHL top 6 at best. And our final pick of this draft before we get to the re-sign stage and setting up our team for next season. This might be a little bit of a long episode, so I apologize ahead of time if that is the case. Arjun Bawa. He must be a real player. It must be Robin Bawa's son. I think this guy must be real, because I've never seen Arjun as like kind of a EA-generated name. If he's Robin Bawa's son, that's cool, or related to Robin Bawa. It's neat. Aiden Schultz from China. Is that China, that flag? I think so. We got to take him just because I don't think I've ever seen a Chinese flag in this game. So let's take Schultz. 7th D. Oh well. He's OFD, so he might be able to pick up some points at the junior level, or the AHL level, I should say. So that's interesting. So there is our draft. I'd say that's probably one of our best drafts yet, or definitely is our best draft yet. We definitely picked it up some really good prospects. Bickle's going to be really good. Strachan and Neal have the potential to be really good. Festerini should be good since he's a 67 low elite. Cox, even though at a low top 6, might have a chance. And then Voinov and Schultz were kind of misses, but that's not much available at that point in the draft. So pretty successful draft for our team. Let's get to this re-sign stage. We got to re-sign our head coach apparently and our coaching staff, which is interesting. So we will try and get them all to come back, and hopefully they do. If they don't, then that's not the worst case scenario, but we don't need to change our coaching staff this early on. Oh, this guy wants to be a head coach, so we're going to let him walk probably. And we'll try and get our goalie coach back. There we go. Perfect. They should hopefully all sign, and we also got to get a lot of scouts back, which are very important, obviously, for this franchise mode. Because if we do not have scouts, our team is going to suck. We should at some time do like a draft to glory with no scouts and just see how terrible we do. Because, I mean, we're going to have to try and find random picks without knowing anything about players. Like, that might be the ultimate challenge for us to do at some point. I don't know if we want to do it this year in NHL 23, but some way down the road, it would be kind of neat to do that. Because I did mention that, I think, last year in my Houston series. Actually, I don't need the AHL guy. Oh, that's the guy that used to play for us, David Elsner. Yeah, that's the guy that played for us and retired and became a scout. I would keep him for the AHL, but I don't have any use for him, so like I don't think he could do any other leagues. Oh, he can do really good in the USA East, which is interesting. Do I need a USA East guy? I don't know. Should I just sign him as a USA East guy? You know what? Let's keep this guy in our organization. He's young. He doesn't want a lot. And we'll try and assign him to USA East if possible. Why not? It'd be kind of cool to keep him in the system since he's our first retired player, even though he never was drafted by this team. Okay, re-sign stage. We shouldn't really have much in terms of contracts to deal with except for our big guys. Let me just go to UFA first and give this guy a big contract as he will be one of our cap whales. Because we need a couple cap whales again for the season. And we should probably keep the cap whales like as scratch players on our NHL roster or something. Andre we're going to let go of though because we do need to make room for that goalie we drafted last year, which was Carlson. So we'll do that. Yeah, obviously I'm going to assign the unsigned guys, but we'll do that in a second. Let's also give these guys big contracts. One way, 18.9. All these guys could take some money. And then we'll be more cap compliant. And we won't have to sign as much people in free agency. Ed already wanted a one-way contract, which is kind of funny. So you guys could get all 18.9, and that should be good there. And let's sign up all those guys that we just drafted. So Bickle, Festerini, you guys are definitely going to be in the lineup. Cox and stuff like that should be as well. But I want to have as much people on our NHL roster as possible. The rest of them might play in the AHL. I don't know if I'm going to be able to sign all these guys based on the contract room that we have. Oh, that might not be good. I think I might have to leave Neil unsigned though, but we'll try and sign him anyways. Because we could always play him in the AHL right away for 1 year. Let's advance the day, see if we get all those guys. So our head coach is back, which is good, and same with our associate coach. And the goalie coach did not accept, which is not a surprise because that seems to always happen. Every time I play franchise mode, I can never get a goalie coach back. Let's go through this quickly. So Ziegler rejected, what? He rejected the $16 million. Oh yeah, we don't have the cap space now for him. That's okay. Let's release him. And we should be cap compliant. And we also, yeah, these two guys I can't sign because they don't have enough contract spaces. So we're going to have to let some people walk and next off season, I guess, in order to get those guys into our NHL roster. Because, yeah, let's see, main roster. A lot of them are RFAs, so we're going to have to let go of a lot of the guys in order to get like guys like Schultz into the AHL lineup and Voinov. But for now, we'll leave them unsigned. And Carlson's still unsigned, so they for some reason signed the other goalie over Carlson first, which I don't get because I offered a contract to Carlson first, but whatever. Okay, that's fine. We should be also cap compliant, I would assume. So we might not need to sign any free agents. We can't even sign any free agents. We don't even have the salary room, so that's pretty good. I think our team is almost ready to be set up, so actually we might not have a little bit of a long episode because of that. But I'm very excited for this upcoming season just because of the amount of young guys we just drafted. I might honestly pre-record next episode depending, just because if you guys want an episode on Friday, then I should pre-record the episode ahead of time. So, but I don't know if I will. I might just wait because I might put the episode on Saturday instead because I'd like to get your guys' comments and all that stuff in because that's always a fun part of each episode. So yeah, let's sim up to next season because I don't think we need to bring in anything in because we don't have the contract room and we don't really have the salary cap to give another cap whale to. So we'll try and keep the cap whales on our NHL roster just to make sure everybody's getting what they should be getting in terms of money. But this season, at the end of it, Jacobson's ELC should be coming to an end. Like the guys that we drafted in the first year, their contracts should be coming to an end, I'm pretty sure. So we're going to have to give out some contracts in that stage. So interesting. They're trying to put Bickle as the second line center right out of the gate, but I'm not going to do that. First line doesn't have the greatest chemistry with this coach out of the gate, but that's okay. So we'll put Festerini over there. Somebody said Sloan down on the bottom six, and Vallette should be up. Brophy's a center, so we'll move him over there. Yeah, that makes more sense. We got to make sure that we have everybody called up. Di Nicola needs to be playing because we did draft him. So we will put Di Nicola in instead of this Minster dude. Did I put him in? Yeah, I did. Okay, good. So that's good there. Defensively, let's make sure we got all prospects in. Dobmeyer shouldn't be playing. Do we have any defensemen that are scratched? No, we do not. Okay, we're going to have to call up some people, but that's okay. Klesla, and we need to have that other goalie that's in the minors to get called up. So let's actually I didn't want to go to that. Goddamn, I'm still not used to the new controls and stuff. Let's call up some drafted players and see if we could slot them into our lineup somehow. So Lil needs to be up for sure. Who else did we draft? Grattan we drafted. I'm trying to remember who else. I don't think we drafted any of these guys. Oh wait, yeah, we drafted you. We drafted Strachan. I can't call up Strachan yet. Let me go to the NHL and send down some people like Barchi. We'll also send down Dobmeyer and Maka. Or yeah, Macha or whatever you want to say. And then AHL wise, let's go back there, call up Strachan. And we'll call up Neil. Yeah, Neil could play as our backup this season, just so he gets some playing time in the NHL and maybe he gets some good growth. And we'll send down Hackinson. And then we'll go to edit lines here and set that up again. So we'll go over here and we will throw in Cox down there. We wait. Actually, wait. He has better potential than Sloan, right? Yeah, he does. So Sloan's gonna get fourth line ice time, but that's okay. And what else do we have for players that I drafted? And forward-wise, it was Grattan. So we'll move Koppinen over to the wing and put Grattan in his actual spot. Grattan's only got bottom six potential as well, but he is gonna get moved up because we didn't draft this Beery guy, so don't really care about him. Okay, that looks good. Actually, maybe I should have Sloan on the third line just because of the overall. And then Cox maybe will get some more growth that way. But Cox is a sniper, so I feel like he should be up there more on the top 9 in a sense. So leave that like that for now. And then defensively, we will throw Strachan and Little into our lineup if we can. Ooh, Little doesn't fit there that well. He doesn't fit anywhere that well. Oh no, that's not good. Little was having a good season last year too, so we actually have a lot of left-handed defensemen in the lineup. Oh, Tuamala wasn't one of our picks either, so we'll take out Tuamala and throw Strachan in beside him. Why is this never getting away from the negatives? That's weird. It's weird. I guess we'll have to run with a negative on our lineup, just because that's the only way it works. And we'll go to goaltenders and throw in Neil as our backup, and that should be good. We'll send down these guys that are scratched, Naff, Minster, and Tuamala, just because we don't need them to be up here. I don't want to do that. I honestly might show you guys the player faces in this episode. Actually, no, I don't. I'll wait for our next episode since we're already around 22 minutes. Don't want this to be super long for you guys. So I said Naff, Minster, and Tuamala. Tuamala is where? Right there. Perfect. Send all those guys down. And let's go best AHL lines because we don't care about the AHL that much because I don't think we have any prospects down there. Yeah, we don't have any prospects that we drafted down there. Yeah, those guys are all just random players. Actually, we should probably keep the cap whales in the NHL. Hypothetically. Who are the cap whales in our AHL team even anyways? Let's just go through this. Oh, there's one, Thomason. So we'll call up Thomason just to sit on our bench. Thomason, and I don't think anybody else is there. Maybe Scratched. Thomason and Eder and Bush. Thomason, Eder, and Bush. We'll call those three up as depth guys. Just because might as well have them in our lineup, and hopefully that fixes the cap situation. Thomason, Eder, and Bush. Those guys should help us be more realistic in terms of our contracts. So we'll call those guys up, and they'll just sit on the bench all year long. And we'll go best lines in the AHL. Perfect. Okay, so that is our team for the upcoming season. So we got Bickle, Zikov, Jorgensen, which is already a pretty good first line. Bickle's probably going to get a lot of growth this year. We have Festerini, Brophy, and Villette, which I'm excited for Festerini. Hopefully he gets a lot of growth out of the gate. Cox, Grattan, and Di Nicola, and other picks, all picks that we did. And then Sloan with two guys that are not players that we drafted. So pretty much we have almost a full forward core now at this point. Defensively, we got Nikitin and Larson, Voutilainen and Little, and then Kuznetsov and Strachan. Actually, let me change this around and put Kuznetsov up because of the low lead status. Oh, there we go. We finally got rid of the minus. Okay. So Kuznetsov and Strachan actually will be the second pairing since they got more potential than these guys. Goaltending wise, we got Klesla and Neal as our goaltenders. So There we go. We almost got a full roster, full defensive core, almost full forward core, and full goaltending core. So there you go. That is that. Our team is set up, which is exciting. And I think that's probably it. Let me just see what the draft class looks like ahead. Who's the top pick? A left wing / right wing. Okay. And then there's some centers, which is always good too. So hopefully we could get somebody decent in the draft. I don't know how much wins we're going to have on the season. Make your predictions down below on how much wins you think we're going to get for next episode. Because last season we got 5 wins. The first season we got 3. Is this the year that we could potentially hit 10 wins and double-digit wins? We'll see what happens. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Anchorage Ice Tigers Draft Goalie franchise mode. So in next episode, we will simulate the entire season and see how this team does. I more than likely will put up the next episode on Saturday just because I want to get your guys' comments in for that. And we're still going to wait until there is a roster update for our Chicago series to start. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.